Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Matt here, and we back with another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. So today we're gonna get into a couple of things. This is not really gonna be related per se to MMA fights, uh, UFC 291 or the BMF title or anything. This is just a little video that I wanted to make. Just some things that I'm seeing. It's just some things I've been thinking for a while. Let's just get right down to it, bro. MMA media, a lot of these MMA journalists are like the lamest people, bro, that you're ever gonna see on your YouTube, that you're ever gonna see, period. Just the strangest batch of people, bro. So let's get off into it. So there's a certain MMA personality, I guess journalist, whatever, that's been making the apology tour for like the last week or so over things that were said during that time period when, we all couldn't leave our crib, we all couldn't leave the house, we all had to stay indoors. And I remember watching, homies content back then because some of homie's content I used to enjoy. So, I don't watch it as much now, but I love homie's technical breakdowns of fights. I mean, he's extremely good at his breakdowns of fights. But his own personal life, personal views, let's just be honest, are trash. You know what I'm saying? And so he's got to go on this whole apology tour now, and I'm talking about, oh, I'm sorry for when folks, what you have to understand is that in this world, we were unaware of what was going on during that time, and things were going to be said. And hush up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Stop talking, bro. Like, so you got like, he's on this whole apology tour for different views he expressed during that time period, right? And it's like, bruh, no one even knew why you was expressing those in the first place. I was watching when he was originally expressing that, and I was sitting there thinking it was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's got like the beer can, the cigarette, and he's like he's pointing at the TV. Like, bro, I remember watching dude's content at that time period, and I'm like, this probably ain't gonna age well. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I don't know. He might want to chill. And then you fast forward to now, and then it's like homies on this whole apology tour, and it's like, my dude, you know, what is up with you, man? Like, you cover MMA media, all right? You're supposed to be covering the fights, the fighters, what's going on, what's happening. Look, man, we don't need the social justice side of it, all right? Like, we don't need that because we wouldn't be getting that from a dude on YouTube. You dig what I'm saying? Like, that's not what your lane is, bro. Deliver the news about MMA. That's what you're here for. Talk about the athletes. Talk about what they got going on. Maybe you highlight some of the wild stuff they said and did and so on and so forth because that's just a part of covering it for content. But on the real, bro, you can leave all of the who's right, who's wrong. This is morally corrupt. And folks, there's a problem. We have something going on with the mouth breathers of the world. Like, bro, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, just cover the sport, my dude. That's all you got to do. It ain't really a whole lot to it. You know what I'm saying? And when you see some wild stuff, you call it out. But you don't have to call it out like from this perspective. I can't believe that there would be people like this. I don't know what background this person comes from that they would say this. Look, man, here's the deal. Okay, there's a lot of people in this world, and everybody's got their own life, so to speak. Everybody's got their own way of living. You know what I'm saying? Some ways of living get down and dirty. Some deal with crime. Some deal with, a lot of wild stuff. Some deal with, religious beliefs, so they're heavy into that. Some deal with they want groups to follow them. Just all this wild stuff, bro. But the whole point is everybody's got different like everybody's life is different. So when I see these guys from MMA media and they come on their camera and they're like, You know, let's hold on. I'm kind of spitballing here, just kind of going all over the place. But let's jump into another one real quick to further kind of streamline my point. So there's another guy who's major, one of the biggest in the MMA media, and you all know who I'm talking about. But I'm not even gonna address it. You know, not gonna say dude's name per se. But here's the deal: you got this other guy who's like he interviews fighters, and they talk about, like the harshness of life, bro. Not all of us grew up with money. Some of us grew up poor. Some of us grew up, with money. Some of us grew up wealthy. Some people grew up, in a life of crime. Some people grew up, where drugs were involved. Some people grew up tons of ways. And you get this guy and he's interviewing these fighters. Oh my God. I've never heard of anything like that. I didn't know that people lived like that. Can you further explain? Like, and you're just like, bro, it's like no one expects you to really, understand that life or understand that lifestyle, whatever this fighter might be explaining. But when the dude is so clearly shocked and unaware that this would even exist, and to pull out a tremendous word, he's flabbergasted by this. Like oh my God, I didn't know that there were people that live like that. You mean to tell me that when this happened, that you didn't want to call the police? The dude is just so shocked and wide-eyed, and just like, oh my God. And you're just like, bro, like, stop with that, bro. Like that, because it almost seems manufactured to a point. I mean, I know the guy is probably fairly clueless to a lot of these things about just real life in general. But it's like at times it seems so manufactured. Like you're like, bro, you can't be this like alarmed or surprised by these different things that go on in most people's lives, bro. It shouldn't be that hard if you've been watching sports, if you've been watching athletes from years. Hello, athletes, especially combat athletes, combat sport athletes, boxing, mixed martial arts, kickboxing. Like, they come from some pretty rough backgrounds, bro. You kind of have to come from a pretty rough background to be wired in a way where you're going to step in a cage, step in a ring, step in an octagon, and do combat to earn a paycheck. You're not just going to go put in an app at Walmart. You're like, nah, I don't think I'm going to go work at Target. I think I want to go get in a cage and, and fist fight somebody for a paycheck. That really sounds to be about my speed. Hello. I mean, bruh, if that's what a person chooses to do, male or female, they probably came from a pretty interesting background then. And so when you see these journalists and they're in these interviews and they're like, oh my God, I didn't I had no idea that this is what was going on. And you know, you're like, bro, what is up with you? What is wrong with you? Like, so it's like you have to be manufactured. You have to be manufacturing this take. You have to be manufacturing this outrage at different things because they get outraged a lot. You see this other guy that's on the apology tour, and he gets on his little camera and he's like, folks, I'm gonna tell you, and sometimes he's got his little glasses and he adjusts them, and he's like, he takes his, folks, I'm going to tell you, you know, I just, what we are approaching is a mass exodus in the MMA world. They come in, they say something, you're like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, a fighter made a spicy take. Like, what are we talking about here? That's, fighters make spicy takes, bro. That's what they do. They have hot takes. They're gonna say some wild stuff. A lot of the wild stuff they're gonna say is like to get a fight. Like, it kind of is what it is. Oh, folks, MMA media has a problem. And it is a problem where they are going to light and burn the fields. And he's saying wild stuff, and you're like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, just cover the media, just cover the fights, bro. Like, you ain't gotta build it up any bigger than that. Cover the fights. Like, the fake outrage at things. You're like, bro, what are you outraged about? Chill, bro. Like, oh my, the other one. Oh my god, I can't, like, with that Izzy Drickus situation. Oh my god, I can't believe that people don't see the racial undertones that are being displayed in this. And I'm like, bro, like, chill, dude. Like, like, it ain't even like all that, bro. At the end of the day, sometimes you got to say a few things to get a few people to notice you, to get the fights, that you want. And these undertones and everything, like, they're not, they're always there, but like I made in a previous video, racial undertones are gonna be present in everything you do in life. And if you haven't recognized or noticed that yet, then your life just ain't really been hard enough. Because for the rest of us, it exists in everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is, my dude. Like, the world ain't perfect. It's not something that's gonna be like, oh, no one's gonna discriminate against me for my race. Come on, bro. That happens. It happens every day, bro. Every day. And I don't know where either of these two. I know where both of these two guys live. I know the city that they live in, at least, not physically where their home is, but one guy works out in his front yard with weights for the whole neighborhood to see. Look, if that don't look, if homie don't look crazy lifting and squatting weights in his front yard, and he's supposed to be intellectual, you're just like, bro, if that ain't some Neanderthal stuff, I don't know what is. But at the same time, do you, bro? I'm not gonna make a video outrage. Oh, he works out in his front yard, like, but bro, like, the outrage that these two display, and it's just like, and you watch them pull the strings of different fighters, and then caress the strings, so to speak, of other fighters. And you're like, because, for example, the guy that's on the apology tour right now, he clearly is so upset with, he's clearly upset with, I don't even know how else to say it, but he's clearly kind of upset by certain cards he was dealt in life for how he looks, right? And so he jocks Israel Adesanya all the time, right? He's just like gone off him. This guy can do no wrong, when clearly he does things that are completely wrong, that you would condemn other fighters that you dislike about, but because Izzy does it, you're just like, oh, I think he's cool, I think he's cool as S, I don't understand why people were offended by this. I was joking, I was laughing about it, I thought it was cool. And you're like, all right, bro. And that's cool, that's fine to laugh and joke about whatever the guy does. But when another fighter does something, that's pretty outlandish, all of a sudden it's like, we have a problem in mixed martial arts where fighters can say this with no repercussion. And you're like, bro, what about your guy that you totally are off of? Like, you totally job, you make countless videos about, that you hype up. Like, that's what I mean. There's like, you don't want to get on here and talk about hypocrisy all the time, because hypocrisy is everywhere. But at the same time, you're like, bro, get out of here with all of that. You got this other guy. I can't believe that people aren't seeing the racial undertones in this. And you're like, my dude, yeah, there's racial undertones and everything, but at the end of the day, what was being discussed had nothing to do with the racial undertones. Yeah, they're always present, but everyone else is choosing to go after the racial undertones of this situation, but that's not what was really, that wasn't what fueled certain fighters to say certain things and to do certain things. They were fueled to say certain things and do certain things because, I don't know if you knew, but if you come up with a controversial, if you're an MMA fighter, let's say UFC, if you're a UFC fighter and you come up with something controversial to do, something controversial to say, a controversial take, and it catches fire. You start getting all of these followers and people talking about you, and you're on the, you're in everyone's mouth. Pause. You got so many people always talking about you and bringing you up and sharing you and making videos about you and everything. This is the thing. I don't know if a lot of you Demetrius Johnson fighters, and no disrespect to him, he's one of the GOATs, but he often complained about the UFC not getting behind him. Here's the deal, bro. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of legwork, right? Now, if you're just a positive enough, good enough guy that you can do the legwork and get people to follow you, talk about you, speak on everything that you do, the machine of the UFC will get behind you. They will promote you. They will promote your fights. They will talk about everything that you do. They will get behind you. They will put you out there, and you're going to be a star, right? But if you're, if you don't rock the boat, if nobody notices you because you're such a good, squeaky clean guy, and no one cares when you do anything or promotes you or shares you or retweets you or anything like that, and your numbers don't show anything, the UFC doesn't care, bro. They're not going to sit there and put any money behind you because you're a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a good guy. Like, good guys don't win. They're not going to put any money behind you. But if you go out there, you have a couple spicy takes, you start getting, that's just what the world we're in, bro. Like, you make a spicy take and people, oh, I think he made a spicy take. Let me follow him. Let me see what he's talking about. That's the world we all live in, bro. That's what it is. And so when these fighters do this, it's like they're doing this to get this machine, their boss, the UFC, behind them to promote them, to put them out there. Thus, they make a ton of money doing whatever it is they're doing, for right or wrong. And they have a better fight career based out of that. I mean, I'm not a fan of Colby Covington, but this dude is sitting on a welterweight title shot, and nobody knows why. Like, my dude ain't beat nobody that was of any relevance to be beaten as a title relevance, we'll say. And he's just waiting on the UFC to finally find a venue and a date, and Leon Edwards to co-sign, and he's going to get a welterweight title shot, bro. He's just chilling and he's waiting on it. Because the machine is behind him, and the machine is not behind him for all of these racist, random reasons that you might believe that they are, because they're just as behind Israel Adesanya, and he's clearly black, Nigerian, African, whatever you want to say, compared to Kobe. So you can't be like they're clearly behind him, so it's not a racial deal, bro. It's just the fact that if you can get the numbers, if you can manufacture the numbers, the machine will get behind you. That's just what it is. And so you get these journalists, these MMA journalists are like, oh my God, I can't believe what he said and what he did and da-da-da. And it's like, my dude, he did it because he's going to headline the next pay-per-view. Okay? Like, right or wrong, that's why he did it. And quit manufacturing all of this outrage toward what he said, because you know why he really did it. All of y'all are behind the scenes. You're talking with managers. You know what's up. You're talking to fighters in his gyms and all this. You know what the deal is, bro. You know why they do this. You know why they say this. You know what will get the UFC machine behind them. Quit trying to go out here, oh my God, I don't understand why they don't get behind certain fighters that are really heroes. Because, bro, it's 2023 and we not worried about heroes, my dude. Like, it's just what it is, bro. It's just how the way that this new media monster works. That is social media. We not following, we not getting behind, we not retweeting, we not sharing, we not subscribing to the heroes. We just not, bro. So this is just, I don't really have a point to making this video. It was just like something I was seeing going on. I just wanted to throw in my little 2 cents. Because I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, bro, like, what are y'all even going on about? Like, it's like, what are y'all outraged about this week? You know what I mean? And it's so clear that they have their favorite fighters, that they clearly favor, that they're clearly biased towards or for, in order to get them to some of them, to get them to come on to their show so they can continue to interview them and act like they have this close relationship with them. And for others, that they want to be seen like, oh, I'm the cool MMA journalist that covers. I cover Israel Adesanya, and I always say he's the greatest fighter in the world, and I always do this, so therefore I'm in his favor. I'm on the right side of history. I'm cool. Look at me, I'm cool because I endorse the cool fighter, or what I perceive to be the coolest person walking. It's another thing. A lot of people in MMA media are so uncool. They're so removed from anything that is topical, cool, or regular, or just a cool person, just a cool dude. In this day and age, they're so far removed from that that they're looking at the MMA space as far as fighters, and they're like, who's cool out of these guys? Who's just got his pulse on the young people? Who's cool? That guy. That's the one I'm going to follow. That's the one I'm going to champion. He can do no wrong because that's the guy I'm going to follow. Because if I follow him, maybe they'll think I'm cool too and I'll be on the right side of history. Bro, come on, dude. Oh no, man. MMA media is so weird. I'm just a regular dude out here making videos about a sport that he loves, right? But I just see these weird people in this space, and they're so weird. Like, and I can say that because I live in the regular world. Like, I'm not in this YouTube, social media. Like I live by this. That's not. It's not what it is. So when you're still, kind of regular, you still you're around regular people and you see these MMA pundits and you're like, bro, this guy is like the lamest dude in America. He's got to be. Like, you're looking at his takes, you're looking at how he acts, there's multiple different ones, and you're like, bro, what in the world is going on with these guys? Anyway, just my thoughts. I mean, it's no big deal, you know, you know. Just something I saw, just a take I had. I don't know. That's the whole point of this channel. Is these are takes that Matt has. And the reason why this is called Matter of Fact is I'm not saying I'm right at all. I didn't say I was right in the Drickus Izzy debacle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm right. It's just my take on it, just my opinion, as they are entitled to their opinion and their takes as well. But I think what's more important is don't manufacture your takes. Like, just be honest about how you feel. And this is how you feel. This is what you feel is going on in the situation. Just say that. Don't manufacture it for some clicks. Like when I made my video about Izzy and Drickus, it was really how I felt. It's really still my take on it, you know? And you see these guys, and it's like, y'all are manufacturing outrage. And it's like, stop doing that, bro. Like, don't even do all that. Like, you make yourself look abnormal, like just strange, like strange. And it's like, and then this last thing I'll say, then this one of these guys has a show, and his co-host is just like this guy right here. I mean, he is as uncool as uncool gets, and they have legions of fans, and they kind of speak to that middle-aged demographic who is absolutely uncool, doesn't have their finger on the pulse of anything, and they're working at cubicles in America, and they're just lost. And then these two buffoons get an MMA show, and they get on here being backed by a major media conglomerate behind them. And they do this show where you're just like, bro, who are these people? Like, and I used to watch so much of their content, and in the beginning it was like, okay, some of the jokes are a little corny as F, and I know you're gonna lean hard into the dad jokes and all of this, but it's like they get off on being corny, weird, awkward, middle aged, and they're making these videos that aren't funny. They're having these takes that aren't funny. They're biased and racist in ways that they're not really aware because they don't have their finger on any pulse of anything. But yet they display this outrage toward what they perceive to be racist fighters, when the reality of it is these fighters aren't. They have a specific take, a specific belief. They're vocalizing that. They're getting millions of followers behind that, and now their company's behind them. Thus, they do better business because it's called prize fighting, and they're fighting for a prize. They're not making videos trying to get clicks like yourself, right? So you just see some wild stuff in this space. But, this guy has a co host that is just so clearly like, I mean, bro, this guy, his co host, this is the only real personal attack I'm going to take. Bro, his co host is so lame that when he would fly to cover different MMA events, or we'll say combat sports events, when he was at home making these videos, he looks regular. He looks like himself. When he flies to Vegas or to Florida, Miami, wherever these major fights would be, and they would have a fight week, and he's being flown there by his company for the fight week. Homie was dyeing his hair and out here looking like Gomez off the Addams Family. He got that cold black hair, you know what I'm saying? And he's dyeing his hair and trying to dye his looks and all of this, and you're like trying to make himself look better. And I'm like, how lame could you possibly be? Like, how low of self-esteem could you have? Like, you're the middle-aged dad. That's what you are. That's your gimmick on your show. Lean into that. You don't need to be dyeing your hair to go on TV, and it just looked horrible. And he's still, I mean, either way, he's gonna be a very ugly man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the hair dye ain't gonna improve nothing. So it's like, why are you doing that, bro? I don't know. It's just a thought. These are just my thoughts. Y'all let me know. Is it Matt or is it fact? Because I don't know sometimes. Looking at this media in MMA is just like, bro. Shout out to a lot of the good people in MMA media. Shout out to Mike Heck. Shout out to Jed Meshew. Shout out to AK Lee. Shout out to Shaheen Al-Shadi. Shout out to the good guys in MMA media. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Esther Lynn. Shout out all the good people. Because these other ones, shout out to the good people, your Jose Youngs, your guys that really believe what they're out here kicking. You know what I'm saying? So, nevertheless, I appreciate all of you guys for checking out another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And, I'll check you next time. Peace.